good day and welcome to a new video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe! Hello and welcome today. Today just joined by me, Daniel. And welcome to another stream. This is a stream where I am painting part of a page. So I'm doing the last little touch-ups on page 1 of my book. So it's a long time coming, you know. I have come a long way with this book so far. It's been probably a year and a half, I'd say, in the makings, somewhere around there. It's been quite a while of doing it, but I have had other projects on the go, as well as keeping up with this YouTube channel, and as well as doing some other things here and there that has kind of cut the track. So it's definitely given it a little bit of a time kind of constraint with it. I can only do so much every week with it, unfortunately. Maybe if I did have all the time in the world to do this painting, to do these paintings for this book, I would have had it done by now. But because I've had not enough time, it just slowly plugs along and I get it done eventually. But the main thing is I am still going for it, I'm still painting it, I'm still creating it, I'm still heading forward. And I've said this quite a few times, with my YouTube channel. With doing these videos, it does help me to keep on track, to keep painting. Because without it, I think I would be just kind of going about my day, doing illustrations and creating pieces with no kind of care in the world per se. For me, that's my feeling with it. It makes me have to keep up with the content, so I have to keep painting and creating something each week. I don't have to, I kind of have to. So, that means it's got that there where if I didn't have this YouTube, I wouldn't have to, I would just kind of relax, I would paint when I want to, I would not be so worried. There are ups and downs with that, but yeah, we'll get into that a bit later. Yeah, so today's topic, I'll be delving into a little topic I like to call it riding the waves of illustration. Yeah, so as illustrators, artists, YouTubers, or creators, any creators in general really, or any person really out there, there are waves to ride, up and down waves to ride in our lives. Yeah, a general person as well, you have your own waves to ride as well, steep waves to get up on top, also known as like climbing mountains as well. But I did, surfer dude lifestyle, so in a way, so riding the wave dude sounds good to me. You gotta ride it out. Yeah, riding waves, steep waves to get across, and calm seas sometimes. We all up and downs and things like that. So, yeah, we have highs and lows. Highs of just finishing a piece or just putting a video out there or creating something new, and lows of trying to get something done. Of something fully done and finished. The lows of really trying to jot away at doing something and it's might not be, you might not be getting anywhere, or it might get a bit stuck, those kind of lows. Yeah, those are kind of waves, up, kind of finishing a piece, and then you kind of finish the piece, you kind of relax and just kind of maybe painting and things like that, and then you've got this big ass low to get across again, because you've got to create a new piece, you've got to come up with the idea, or new project, new brief or something like that you've got to work out. So there's all that kind of take into note, these highs and lows. Awesome. Yeah. And yeah, we all have these waves to ride. General artists, professionals, everyone out there really kind of have waves of their own. I mean, usually professionals, I'd say at this stage, you know, have ridden so many waves, and general artists or beginner artists haven't really experienced too many waves. That's the whole gist of it all. Um, it doesn't say that general artists haven't experienced many waves in their time. Um, but generally, professionals, kind of high level artists have gone through a lot of tough times and a lot of very hard experiences and good decision making and things like that to try and get past all these rough seas, um, these hard times, especially now with all this COVID stuff and this kind of Black Lives Matters thing and all this stuff that's going on in the world at the moment. There is, and I don't know if it's not kind of a thing that happened and then goes away a little bit. It kind of stays with us, kind of a thing. So especially with that these days, everyone's on that kind of big wave at the moment. But everyone experiences it different as well. Some have it worse than others. Some are better off countries. Like myself, I'm kind of in a better off country because we don't have as many cases here. Not as many people spreading. Don't have to worry so much about going out and about. Still have to keep the safety, obviously, and then just try and keep your hygiene up and everything like that. But there's not as much risk as, say, going to one of these really high, case places at the moment. So everyone has different experiences. Well, yeah, but I do have things that come in to my life every now and again that do affect anything that affects kind of your personal life and things like that. It can affect your illustrations as well. You don't feel like illustrating because you're so upset or things like that come into play, and that's sometimes comes into play every now and again. It seemed like because I work a full-time job, so it's kind of tough to come home after a long day, after everything, have tea and everything like that, and then try to get myself to paint. It is challenging sometimes, but I have to do it for my future and to pass and ride this wave out. It's some rough seas sometimes. Coming home, I don't really feel like painting sometimes. I just kind of want to chillax and play games and watch something, blah blah blah. But that passion comes as well. Some days I get home, I may be absolutely knackered from work or something like that, and then have tea and everything like that. But when I get to the desk, I still feel like painting and creating. There's that urge in me that needs to do it. That comes into play as well. It doesn't matter how tired I am or how stressed out or unemotionally wanting to do illustrating or anything like that. I still manage to have that deep voice inside that manages to keep me painting and keep me creating. And it's important to have that while you're kind of riding these waves as a new illustrator or an illustrator who's creating stuff, a YouTuber, whoever ran these waves. And the same with YouTubers per se. with the views and things, worrying about that and riding the waves of, oh, so many people are watching my channel, you feel like making more videos because of that, more videos kind of like that, and yeah, you feel really happy about that, and then you get all this like negative comments or kind of no views coming in kind of a thing at some points, and you just feel really negative about it. But as a growing YouTuber, you just ride that wave out. There's no views coming in at the moment, but you're still trying to create content. You're just building a bridge forward. You're thinking about the next steps. Why aren't you kind of getting any views? Is it because your illustrations, your videos, your whatever aren't to scratch? Is it your discoverability? Maybe there's things you can try. Lately, for me, I've been doing a bit of CEO background work on some of my videos, so that's just kind of changing a little bit of not so much the title, because most of the titles are, they speak for this video of what it is and everything like that. So, mostly the titles are there. But you changing some of the description, because sometimes with my description it's not exactly the best, and changing the tags I use, things like that make it more discoverable and easier to find on YouTube, so that more people can see my videos. And it's the same for your illustrations. You kind of cut back things, and you really render the heck out of some things to make them look nice, and yeah, you polish things off. You just keep editing it. If you're creating illustrations and no one's kind of looking at them, or just yeah, maybe not getting a positive feedback, maybe then think about, is it maybe your illustrations that need maybe reworking or something, but it's also great to have positive feedback. It's I've had some kind of gallery show things. I used to do them at course. We had to put our work into the galleries at our course, and then people would come in and view our pieces and things. It was nice to see them and see what they had to say, either about some of my fellow former kind of students with me, and my work as well. Hearing their opinion on it and things like that is quite nice, whether they liked it or things like that, what they had to say about it, and things like that. It was quite nice to have that, and yeah, illustrating or creating something is definitely, it's not a straight line. It's not a kind of thing that you can just do and keep doing the same way you do every day. For instance, like maybe kind of brushing your teeth. You learn how to brush your teeth, and once you've learned how to brush your teeth, you do it the same way every day, all the time, and it's usually fine if you're doing it right. If you do it right, it's fine. Usually you don't go into too many problems with plaque and all that stuff if you brush your teeth regularly and all that stuff. Just keep doing it. With creativity is way a little bit different than that. There are times where you got to be creating more videos. You're going to be spending more time on videos or illustrations or creations than others. For instance, with some weekly tips that I do. With some weekly tips, they only take 5 minutes to do. With other weekly tips, they take me like 20 minutes of trying to find references and just trying to decide on what I'm actually doing. And then they take another half an hour of actually doing the thing, and then they take 5 or 10 minutes to record it and piece it together, and then they take like another 20 minutes to kind of export it and put it together to put onto YouTube. So, you know, some videos, some weekly tips has taken me like 3 or 4 hours, others have taken me like 5-10 minutes to do. And it's the same for illustrations and designs and things like that. Some, you know, take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to kind of do something quick, or a little doodle or drawing or something. And like this piece here, some they take as long as they take. There's no kind of time for them. You can only do as much as you can. You try the best to your deadlines though, because seriously, if you do have deadlines, you really got to think about this when you start it off, and kind of keep chugging along and make sure you're meeting all those deadlines and things like that. But yeah, you know, it's not a straight line. Yeah, there's times where you're gonna create more than others, and yeah, times you don't want to create, you know, to create stuff. Like sometimes when I come home and I just want to kind of relax and, you know, I don't want to paint. Sometimes I just want to go straight to bed, you know. Sometimes that happens. There's a saying that, you know, I made up. Well, I'm not sure if it was something that I heard at some point. I haven't really looked into that. But I thought I made it up as far as I know. I think I've heard it somewhere though, so I can't fully say it. I wouldn't say, you know, quote unquote myself, but you know, it's a kind of a saying I made when, you know, I was doing a project at course, and that was my kind of strategy for tackling my project. And this, you know, quote unquote, is head first with a helmet. And you know, that is quite an interesting say. You know, you're going head first with the helmet on. Why would you put yourself kind of in danger, but you still got a bit of safety there, you know? You know, now for me that meant to go in, you know, full speed with kind of everything I had, but also be, you know, aware and keep some good safety precautions, like making sure I meet each step right, or, you know, my project right, you know, making sure my project's on track, keeping up with what time I have available for doing things, and you know, how things are looking. For instance, I was constantly thinking, when I was going along with this project, because this was kind of like I think it was like a 15-week project. It was quite a big one. It was kind of a whole year though of planning it, and, you know, writing a thesis on it, and then kind of going from the thesis to to go on it and create a project from it, kind of a thing. And it was always different for everyone. But yeah, you know, that was my thing, you know, to go steady paced really, not going so fast that I run into problems. I did though, you know, at the end of it, very close to the end, there were some very close struggles. I think with, you know, with the final kind of viewing of it, it, you know, that was supposed to be the final absolutely done thing. You know, I had to then, you know, create the next one of it and keep going, but it didn't. In the end, I fully made it. You know, it was a bit of a struggle. I had to, kind of take it out of its spot. We had this gallery viewing, and we had to put it in the gallery. And I had what I had at the time, and I put it into the gallery, hoping it would pass. But it kind of got, in a way, thrown back at me. I kind of knew right then and there it would get thrown back at me, but I was hoping like how it would just kind of pass. But it got given back to me. So I had some problems. I ran into some problems, and that's the thing. Um, you can't always kind of key in problems that are gonna occur. And this thing about riding waves, are getting these things happen. There's always gonna be some sort of little hiccup or problem that's gonna occur. With this, it was with my screen printing, I had CMYK print to do, and it's very very hard kind of to get CMYK fitting right. You need all 4 layers to kind of print at the same spot 4 times, 4 different colors. And that sounds kind of pretty easy to do, but on fabric, you've got a lot of elements happening. You've got wet, you gotta wait for it to dry, and then you've got to make sure that you've got all the points in the right places. So it's a lot of experimental, and in the end, I made a kind of one shot kills, like one shot ends it all kind of a thing, kind of like I was in a kind of basketball event where I only had to get one more hoop to win the game, kind of a thing. It was like that kind of position I was in. I had to kind of get this project. I had to make sure that the CMYK was perfect this time round. That's all I had time for. This is it. That's it. Otherwise, I wouldn't pass. That was the whole situation. But in the end, managed to make it work. Just in the nick of time, I got it there. I got it dusted. It took some really hard work. Me staying up late to fully, kind of finish the last bits of the project up. And yeah, key it all together. At the end, each piece, yeah, these hiccups come and go. And yeah, there's so much to it, there's so much to the project that could have gone wrong. And those things went wrong, and you find solutions to them, and it's the same with it, like just creating and illustrating something. You have problems with it, like for instance, me painting this piece here. When I was first starting it, probably a year and a half ago or something, first trying to draw it, I was really trying to capture him and trying to make sure that it looks like he's actually yawning. Because at the start when I had the initial sketch, it kind of did, but it was lacking a little bit of character. And dealing with that, I had to make sure to keep up with the YouTube video. I was struggling with that, so it's trying to make sure I was keeping on painting on it, but I was struggling a little bit of making it look good per se. And I've had a bit of that in the past, where some of my YouTube stuff, it's better than, or the artwork isn't too great because of that. But now I learn from it, and I try my best to make sure I'm kind of getting the best of making sure the content's good. That means in the quote on the content, it means the actual illustrations are getting good. So I give myself leeways for that. I've learned in the past, definitely starting out, I was kind of just doing it, just creating it. I didn't know where I was going with it, and now it's got me here. And now, now I'm really, try to get the best of both worlds to make sure that my illustrations aren't suffering because I'm trying to make content. Always try and do that now. And there are a few ways to do that. Sometimes I can easily do it, depending on the illustrations and how I'm keeping up with it, how much I'm illustrating each week, each night, how hard's the illustration to do, how long is it going to take me, kind of a thing. Those kind of things come into play. And there's certain ways to deal with it, like for instance, maybe the painting, like this one took me a little bit longer than I planned, so I've made it into a kind of 3-part of me painting it, 3 parts of me painting it. It means, I don't get a different variety of more art, different pieces and stuff of my videos. But I get a better art piece out of it, so that's the most important thing. And sometimes you have to make those little sacrifices, and I don't know if they're going to be bad or good. Each video is their own, so it's hard to say whether they'll affect me in the long run or not. But in the end, it's going to get this illustration done. It's going to get this to its highest level I can get it, and that's what's the most important thing, really, in the long run, because this is a book, and I'm so close to finishing it that I can get it printed and created and even published one day if we're lucky. But yeah, awesome. But yeah, I lost my thought there. But yeah, go into the next thing. With each new wave, that we have or challenge, there's always something to help you, when the next wave comes. There's lessons when the next wave comes, like I was saying before, with my YouTube channel running into ruts where, my illustrations weren't to the highest level because I needed videos. That has happened a little bit, and I've learned from it not to do it, and just learned to ways I can deal with it, where if I do need kind of a video or some video to make for the week, that I don't break my illustrations. There's ways around it, like doing a live stream. That gives me an extra week just to kind of paint and create something at my own pace and make sure that I'm not going kind of too fast through it, because this is important to get all these book illustrations, excuse me, make sure I get all these book illustrations looking good and ready for printing. Really, I don't want to be rushing through it and then I've got all these mistakes to edit. I want to get through it, because this is the last little run I'm doing. I've had one run over it, I've got another little run that I've done over it, and now this is the last little bit of run I've got to go. And it's still a wee bit, of a run, and it can get exhausting, but I'm still going. I'm learning how to keep painting at it, and I'm creating other stuff as I go as well if I need to, and things like that. So yeah, yeah, and there's always things that get you stuck, making a new type of video or a new type of illustration or painting something new, like a new material or a new kind of creature, or you're learning, say, concept art for the first time, or you're learning 3D for the first time. There's always ways that you get stuck on the bottom of a wave, and yeah, you just get stuck in the middle of it and washed out and lost. and you got to find your way, back. And it, there's so much help out there these days. There's videos, there's forums, there's YouTube channels, just art advice out there, to solve any creative problem these days. So it's easier to be able to get back on your board, and just go and ride that wave again. It's way easier these days. It's, there are still struggles, and hey, there may be something new, especially with like 3D VR painting. There probably is some new unresolved problems, and with illustrating and creating stuff, there's always going to be new unresolved problems, because sometimes you create something really unique, in a setting that you might have seen painted before, but not in this certain style or this certain way. So there's not going to be the perfect solution of how to paint this, but there will be something to help you, or something that you've done before. I think your first wave, your first like kind of illustration you do, full blown illustration, is very challenging to do at first, and once you get that kind of done, it gets a little easier to ride the waves. But then there's going to be a bigger wave, a bigger illustration that you're going to do, so it's going to get tougher to ride them. But just like an RPG game, or something that it's like that, you get more levels and things like that. It gets a little bit easier to ride the waves, but they're gonna be still gonna get challenging and more challenging as you go. And yeah, you wanna keep trying for bigger waves, because once you've get to ride the wave, you get to go down it and get to go to just enjoy the whole way down, and enjoy the reward from doing that, like creating, for instance, the first illustration do might be a painting of, say, this lamp, and then the second painting might be a bit bigger, of painting the Henry, but the next piece is all of it together like this. It's obviously it's gonna be easier to do the lamp, and it's gonna be a little bit more difficult to do Henry, the drawing of Henry, and getting him right. But when you piece it all together, it's gonna be challenging. But you've done those two waves. You've done the painting of the lamp, and you've done the painting of Henry. So all that's left is really the kind of background and piecing it all together, kind of a thing. So you already have those elements you've learnt from writing those two other waves, from doing those two other illustrations that you've done. So you can bring everything from doing those two illustrations you've done, and bring it into that wave, that illustration, and you may not even pass. You may just barely splash out or something, but you can go back, do some more, build some more strength, do some background work, do some work on other textures that are in here, mud, walls, wood. I've got a piece of kind of cotton blanket that he's sitting on, and blankets, those kind of textures, the lighting coming up, all those little elements you can learn, and then just approach at different times, and come back to it. Yeah, so for me, finding out where my illustrations will take me is always going to be a lifelong journey. I think for any illustrating artist, or YouTuber, you know, it's a lifelong journey. You don't know where they're going to take us. Yeah, at the moment I'm creating my books. I'm quite content about it. So far it's looking good, and I can't wait till it's finished. And it's a thing, I'm like on the edge here. I'm probably like 70% done per se. I'm really eager to finish, but I still got a bit to go, and that's the thing. I've just got to kind of just sit back, keep going. Keep going as, you know, I've just got the project. I've got to keep on going, keep on pushing forward, and try to make sure that each page is looking good. I've still got a fair bit of a journey, but you know, for this journey in particular, yeah, it's going well. Now I've done a lot in my past. You know, I've done a cover design for a teens novel, which was quite cool. And that, you know, that was hard to find. You know, that was another time that I was stuck. I was like, I nearly couldn't find an illustration job. I would have had to do, excuse me again. I would have had to go with, because that course we had to find a job to do, either like a design job, an illustration job, just some form of creative job to go do as part of our class, and we had to track it all, do all the billing and everything, you know, work as a kind of freelance illustrator for me, but you know, we were all trying to find our own opportunities, and I did not want to do just a general design job that they had. They had a few like general design jobs. I think there were one or two that weren't like paid. They were just kind of you know, because you are doing this for a school project, we'll let you do it, kind of a thing. You can do it for that. We don't have the money, unfortunately, to pay for you, you know, that kind of thing. And I didn't want to do that, you know. I think there was one that might have been a lead, that they would have paid me for it, but still, that was kind of me, a design logo job. I wouldn't, I wouldn't have loved it. I would have, you know, maybe I would have passed it, but I wouldn't have loved it. But I was really, you know, stuck. I couldn't really find the job I wanted, like an illustration job. And you know, struggling. I went to a local bookstore and asked them if they, you know, knew any leads of anyone looking for an illustrator for a book or something. Um, and you know, I was really stuck. It was kind of the last week or something like that, and then, you know, I got a contact eventually. You know, Ringtawa Publishing got hold of me, and I got to do one of their front cover books, and that's been an awesome experience and a great wave to kind of ride, you know, to do, and that was awesome. It was the end of the year, you know, I was trying to get projects as well, and I could have had another project as well, but unfortunately, because I was trying to focus on my coursework and get all that sussed, it was a struggle. So unfortunately, you miss out on these opportunities sometimes, due to circumstances, things like that. You know, I mean, this time of age, there's a lot of jobs missing out on because they can't do them because of social distancing and things. Like, for instance, I think here in New Zealand we didn't have haircuts for 2 or 3 months, so you know, there's a lot of missed out work for 2 or 3 months. But now, a lot of people probably getting their haircuts again. That probably waves over, and it's probably back to kind of normal levels as far as I know of getting haircuts and things like that. So, yeah, those it comes in waves, sometimes. and you know, if an opportunity comes your way, grab onto it if you can. um, but yeah, you know, sometimes you have to miss out on it. Because of circumstances you can't, like the work might be out of town and you can't get out of town or something like that. So, um, yeah, it was challenging to do that. Yeah, I was just saying that, yeah, opportunities come and go. Um, and you know, the waves just keep going. Yeah. Some waves seem, you know, really massive. Like I explained, some things like doing maybe a 3D model for the first time. It seemed really, really daunting because in some of these programs, you've got all these buttons, and you're like, what does this do? What does that do? You know, what does this do? Same with, you know, doing illustration or drawing for the first time. Um, you know, you start with a pencil, eraser, a pen. You know, you start with all these tools sometimes, and um, and then you just kind of start off with the pencil, and you're like, well, I've got all these other tools, and you know, and you erase all the time. Then you learn it's kind of bad to erase everything. And you just learn as you go, and you learn, yeah, tools ain't too daunting, you know, and things like that. So yeah, some waves are more massive than the others, you know, with the, yeah, 3D, you know, there's still many tools. You might accidentally crash your computer by making the model too big or too kind of detailed and things like that. And you like, every time you open it, what the hell's going on, you know, and trying to fix it. I've had I've had that happen once, but you know, there's ways around it, and there's ways that um you learn it. You know, you tackle it in different ways. You know, when I was learning Blender, I was tackling not just through learning through YouTube, but I was also tackling it through a book that I found, you know, Blender for Dummies it was called, and I just, as many tips and tricks as I could find, and just finding whatever solutions I could find. And it's a way, you know. You know, some uh, waves are really unwritable, but eventually you'll be able to find the right surfboard or the right thing that will get you to fulfilling these challenges and trying to get past these challenges in life that you can get past. And yeah, it only takes consistency of keeping on going, keeping on trying, to eventually get past it, you know. Um, so yeah, thanks for joining me if you did join me. Hopefully I've given you something to think about, to discuss about. Let me know down in the comments what you thought. Yeah, keep drawing, everyone. Keep creating. This being me, you know, talking about writing the waves of illustration while I've been painting page 1. So hopefully you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep drawing. Goodbye.